Hi guys, welcome to Learning Electronics Repair, and I have a phone on my bench from Blackview. This is the Xplore 1 Pro and it has thermal imaging from FLIR, FLIR. I've looked at some previous models from Blackview. In fact, my friend Carlos from Retro Upgrade has one and uses as this thermal camera for his YouTube videos. I know a few of you guys have been interested in this type of rugged mobile phone. So let's take a look at this. It was sent to me as a review sample. I didn't pay for this, but I'm not being paid to make this review, and this will be my honest opinion of the Xplore 1 Pro. Just before we take a look at the phone, let's take a look at the price, because these have come down considerably since the previous models I reviewed. And we see here various sellers all around the €400 mark. Some are a little bit lower and with free shipping. Although we need to select the model we want. Okay. So with the thermal camera, $375, free shipping there. There are a few different models, more RAM. Okay. The one I have is the 16GB with 512GB storage. Either orange or black, and we will find out which when we open the box. A quick look at the other specs. So 20,000 milliamp battery, okay, quick 55 watt charging, and you can also use this as a power bank, by the way, to charge other mobile phones or to power lights, etc. And it's a rugged phone, so IP68, IP69K. Now let's take a look inside the box. And we see the Xplore 1 Pro itself. I have the black version. Wow, this is heavy. Surprisingly so. There's a screen on both sides of this. We have the thermal camera and the optical camera there, you can see. It comes with a 55 watt PD power supply, charger, and a fairly hefty USB lead. Instruction manuals. Oh, and a strap too. Okay. Spudger. I just looked it up on the internet and this is 640 grams. That is one hefty phone. Of course, being in the electronics channel, I know full well that the thing you guys are really interested in is the performance of the infrared camera. So let's have a look at this. The infrared is by FLIR, so it is a FLIR, my FLIR Pro. So this was already installed on the phone. Just let it boot up. Okay, and there it is. So the first test, the one I always do really, is on my hand. Oh, I can see the hairs on the back of my fingers clearly with this. Okay, and it leaves a good print behind. I think I can actually record on this. Let's just have a go. So that takes a photo. Yeah, I can take photos. Video. Okay, so I'll record some video on the phone. This will give us a better idea that you can actually see on the screen with the overhead camera. Okay, so that's recorded on the phone, my hand. Okay. Leaves a good print behind, so definitely this is sensitive. We also have the standard sort of options, so there's a close up and distance here, wide angle or normal by the looks of it. No, in fact this is not wide angle and normal. This is actually normal temperature range or high temperature range. Okay, this will display the temperature on the screen, so you can see the temperature range there. And we can, for example, have a point where we read the temperature, or various other options, a line within a circle, so we can get average. Very much the things you'd expect from a thermal camera. the point we can move around. Okay, so we have a number of different graticules we can put on the screen. So I can see quite clearly, and I will record again. My skin temperature, 34.5 it's saying there. And this is working from a further distance. So it gives us some idea of how this works close up and further. Let's have a look at the air conditioner in the office. Okay, so I have the aircon switched on. You can clearly see the office there actually. Okay. We get an outline of all the various things in the office. You can see that. Okay, so for example, that's the doorway. This is the aircon, okay. Let's put a spot on the screen. Okay, so we can see, yes, the aircon, and yet I can read the signs in the windows clearly, actually. This is really quite clear. We'll put the spot measurement in the middle there. Okay, so we can see the air coming out of the aircon about 7.5, something like that. This is the pipe which comes down. Okay, here we are on the street. A bit cloudy at the moment. Yeah, we can see the temperature of the cars. Let's see a car come past. Huh? There we go. So this is definitely bright enough for me to clearly see this in daylight. Does it actually? Yes, I'm now in landscape mode. Okay. Interesting. Seas down there. Okay, so that's some distant tests with it. Now let's have a look at something close, like a PCB. I'm back in the corridor of the shopping centre. The sun is up over here, so this is one of the windows. You can see the temperature up there, 35, 36. Okay, the sun is more in that direction. Okay. Now let's go into the cool office and see. It's adjusted there, so it's now gone to like a different palette. Yeah. You can see all my component storage drawers. It changes again. Okay, so that's how the thermal camera works for more distant work. I'd say this is pretty damn good for things like aircon and looking at buildings, insulation problems. Okay, that's the fluorescent light above my bench. Let's get a PCB. This is the motherboard I normally use when I'm testing thermal cameras. So let's just try this. I have it on record so we can also look at what the phone is actually seeing. Now you'll notice at the moment I have the overlay switched off. Okay, so you can see the various chips on here. I can drag the little pointer around to where I want it to read the temperature. Okay. And I have the modes here, so I have, that's the temperature mode I think. MSX, this gives me like an overlay of the board. This is what I was using when I was outdoors. But you always have an issue with this on FLIR, that when you're very close, you can't adjust the parallax. So the thermal image and the optical image don't overlay properly, okay? I think you can see that quite clearly here. Sorry about the reflection, but I think the recording on the camera will be better. That's the chip and that's the hotspot. The hotspot is that chip, okay? If I look at the small components down here, I can clearly see the small components. But again, due to the parallax issue, you can't see which one is the hottest. There's a different mode. Does this one show it better? Well, again, you can see that the chip, the top of the chip there, is not positioned over the image. Now, I believe you can actually adjust this, but from what I've seen previously, it's not intended for close-up use like this. This mode is monochrome. and back to the temperature only. Okay, so that is the modes. We have various rainbow effects or palettes, but we have to stop the recording before we can actually go into them. Okay, so I can change mode. That's more like the one I would normally use, the rainbow mode. Okay, I can hit record again so you guys can see it. Let's look at the VRM. So that's down this side of the board, and I can clearly see the MOSFETs are warm, but I can't really see where the hottest patch is. Okay, or rather I can see the hottest patch, but with the parallax difference it's a bit hard to say where that actually is. Okay guys, so time to sum up on this one. I've looked at the Blackview phones before. You can see clearly these have two cameras. So we have an infrared camera and we have an optical camera. And they all have the same advantages and the same disadvantages. The main disadvantage with these phones, because we have the two cameras and we don't have a macro lens, this is not ideally suited to close-up PCB work. We can see that. But where this does stand out, I mean, outdoors, I could see the screen on this clearly in full sunlight here while I was filming outdoors. Plus, the actual infrared camera was picking up a very good image as well. You could see that. So really, that's what this is more designed for. If you want to use a rugged phone, yeah, you want to go mountaineering or something. I had this running on full charge for about 2 weeks, by the way, while I went to Las Palmas, so I wasn't making any videos at the time, and it used about 50%. Okay, it wasn't doing anything particular, it was just idle, but after 2 weeks it was down 50%, and plugged it in and it just recharged again. So yeah, if you're out in the sticks, this will last a long time. You can use it to charge your other phones, you can use it to power things like lights if you're camping, that sort of thing. You may even be able to use it to power a portable soldering iron. We can try this. We have a live stream coming, so if you want to say anything with this, let's give it a go, see if we can actually do that with it. And in those conditions, and if you are doing aircon work, you know, you're working on sort of power plants and industrial situations where you want a good thermal camera that you can use in any weather conditions, that you can see clearly in the sunlight, you can record on it. It wouldn't be difficult to mount this in some sort of holder, which then give you a standard tripod mount. And you can leave it out there no matter what the weather's doing, for a time lapse, for example. So there are definite use cases for this. It's just that what I do, which is close-up PCB work, isn't actually one of them. Okay, so if this suits your use case, it has lots of advantages. I'm sure you'll want to chat about it down there. Let's hear your thoughts on it. And I look forward to seeing you all soon again on Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.